What's up, everyone? Welcome to the October 21st edition of the NBA Injury Report, second one of the season, as we do have a full 11-game basketball slate tonight. So there are several injuries, several questionable players that we need to take a look at. But before we do that, we do have our best promo code of the NBA season right out of the gate. Use promo code HARDWOOD, gets you 10 days of Stokastic Plus Platinum for just $10. You'll get access to all the behind the paywall data, including our new lineup generator, which you can use to create quality lineups for whatever type of NBA DFS contest you are looking to play. So again, that's promo code HARDWOOD. Use it and get 10 days of Stokastic Plus Platinum for just $10. Now, some injury news that we do need to keep an eye on. First off, starting with the Washington Wizards, Deni Avdija is questionable. This isn't a huge deal for fantasy just because of the likely implications. Avdija did get the start for Washington in game one. He could be a reasonable value if he's in the starting lineup again, but it's an 11-game slate. There's plenty of other value. He's not going to stand out one way or the other. And he didn't start the second half last game because of his injury. There you got Anthony Gill starting the second half. He played 9 minutes in the second half. I would expect that if Gill started again today, he would play 18 to 20 minutes, somewhere in there. Again, just not somebody that's likely to be super useful for DFS. If Avdija is out, it probably also is a positive impact for Will Barton's playing time. We saw him close out the game against Indiana in the season opener, but he's probably going to close out a lot of games even when Avdija is active. And he's not a particularly strong DFS option, regardless of Avdija's status. So nothing really useful for DFS there, but it is a spot to keep an eye on just because there would be some small impacts. Number two, Jalen Smith is questionable for Indiana. This one is big because we already know that Indiana is without Miles Turner. This means that if Jalen Smith plays, one, he should play a lot of minutes, and two, there's increased production available for him. Not that Miles Turner is a great rebounder, but Smith should be around the basket even more, getting more rebound chances, playing more minutes. If he's in, he's going to look really good. If he's out, I expect one of two things to happen. The first sub in the season opener, Jalen Smith got in early foul trouble. Isaiah Jackson immediately subbed in for him off the bench, played a bunch of minutes. But then Jalen Smith came back in, and the next time Smith subbed out, it was Goga Bitadze that came in for him. Then in the second half, Bitadze was the primary backup to Jalen Smith. So I think that you're going to get either Isaiah Jackson or Goga Bitadze in the starting lineup if Smith is unable to go. Whichever of them starts would be a very good value. Last season, Jackson averaged 1.16 DraftKings points per minute. Bitadze averaged 1.05 DraftKings points per minute. These are both guys that can get it done if they're on the floor, and whichever one gets the starting nod would be the one that I give the priority to. Cole Anthony was a late scratch prior to Orlando season opener due to an illness. He is listed as questionable today. He went through shoot around, so my assumption for now is that he's going to play. But if he doesn't, we saw Jalen Suggs inserted into the starting lineup last game. Suggs had a 26.1% usage rate without Cole Anthony on the floor last year. Of course, last year there was no Paolo Banchero, who led the team in usage in game one. So maybe that comes down a little bit for Suggs, but typically he finds a way to get his. And he produced well in the season opener. He played about 26 minutes in that game, but could have certainly played more. He fouled out, definitely had abbreviated rotations. So if Anthony were to miss this game, Jalen Suggs certainly looks better. Potentially opens up a little bit of usage for Banchero or Franz Wagner as well. But I don't think that's as big a deal because Jalen Suggs is a high usage guy also. So he's probably just more or less replacing Cole Anthony's usage. And the big news that we have to wait on in that, I think there's a lot of ways it could break. Jamal Murray is questionable for this game. We saw in game one, Bruce Brown was actually the first guy off the bench subbing in for Jamal Murray. Jokic would stay on the floor, and then so basically you have point Jokic, you have Bruce Brown out there, and then they were subbing in Bones Highland when Jokic would come out. So if Murray misses this game, I think you could see Bones Highland start. You could see Bruce Brown start. You could see Ish Smith get a placeholder start. Whatever the case, there's going to be increased value with Denver. It's just kind of dicey trying to figure out how it's going to play out. But Bones Highland's relatively inexpensive. He played 16 minutes in the opener. He led the team in usage rate. He's cheap enough where even if he's coming off the bench, if Murray's out, he's probably playing more than those 16 minutes. Ish Smith is 3K flat on DraftKings. So if he's starting, he's just going to kind of be a plug and play value. If he's not starting, then you do still sort of have to wonder about how that backup rotation is going to go. For example, if Bruce Brown's starting, Brown probably just plays a lot of minutes. Bones Highland runs the backup, runs the second unit. If Bones Highland starts, then maybe Ish Smith is just the pure backup, but also you could just see still Bruce Brown play more minutes. So I do think that's kind of messy, but also at that cheap price tag, there is plenty of upside there. And then Bruce Brown himself, we know from his time in Brooklyn, he's kind of a jack of all trades. He can do everything. If he finds his way onto the floor for 30 minutes, he's probably going to be a good value. But Bones Highland is the guy that I think I would feel the most confident in, just because he's a very good point per minute fantasy producer. If he starts, it's probably worse for his per minute production, but it's also a sign that his minutes are going to be relatively safe. So definitely keep an eye on the starting lineup if Murray's out. I think they could go a variety of ways, but some semblance of value is going to open up between Bones Highland, Bruce Brown, and Ish Smith if Murray is out. And then the other piece is that Nikola Jokic is more productive without Jamal Murray on the floor. He's very productive one way or the other, but 1.55 DraftKings points per minute alongside Jamal Murray since the start of the 2020 season, 1.73 DraftKings points per minute without him. Jokic looks great no matter what. He looks even better if Murray misses. So to recap, the spots where we are paying attention to questionable players, we have Deni Avdija questionable in Washington. Not a huge impact, but something to keep an eye on. Jalen Smith questionable for Indiana, likely to benefit Isaiah Jackson or Goga Batadze, whichever of them starts the most. Cole Anthony questionable, went through shoot around in Orlando. Jalen Suggs started for him last game. I would expect he starts again if Anthony is out. And Jamal Murray questionable for the Nuggets. A lot of ways it could go, but value likely to open up from a combination of Bones Highland, Ish Smith, and Bruce Brown, in addition to Nikola Jokic projecting much better if Murray is out.